In that last race, the USC crew that was duking it out with Clemson and British Columbia was in fact their B4.
USC, Washington State, Virginia, Oregon State, Duke, Sacramento.
At the starting line, event number 12,
Alabama.
Women's Collegiate 4 with Coxon,
Attention.
is about ready to start.
Go!
In lane 1, USC. Lane 2, Washington State University. Lane 3, University of Virginia. 4, Oregon State. 5, Duke University. 6, Cal State, Sacramento, and there's been a false start or breakdown. So they're going to have to restart this race.
No, they didn't jump. They didn't go. I mean, they went fumbling.
So if you have a false start, you get 2 false starts. Actually, you get 1 false start. The second one, you're disqualified from the race.
All boats return to the start line as quickly as possible.
So what you're going to see now, some of the boats will just back. Got it. Got it.
Go ahead.
Stop by the Concept 2 CTS tent and try the new dynamic indoor rower. Rowing on the dynamic translates into better connection, rhythm, and timing in your boat. Stop by the Concept 2 booth in our vendor area. Goldfield Stage is your perfect choice for transporting your winning team from event to event with reliability and ease. Whether it's your crew or golf team or the fans, Goldfield can handle groups from 15 to hundreds. Call Goldfield Stage at 619-579-5300 and ride the wave in style. Stop by Concept 2 and get yourself together with one of these machines on our Jumbotron screen. They, as they mentioned, help translate to better connection, rhythm, and timing in your boat at the Concept 2 vendors tent in the vendors area.
Once we have alignment, I will re-announce the crews.
Event number 12, restart, will be the Women's Collegiate Varsity 4 with. Lane 1, University of Southern California. Lane 2, Washington State University. Lane 3, University of Virginia. Lane 4, Oregon State University. Lane 5, Duke University. Lane 6, Cal State University, Sacramento. Lane 7, University of Alabama. Conditions remain ideal down here at the starting area.
USC, Washington State, Virginia.
The starter is now
Oregon
identifying
State,
the crews.
Duke.
After she says
Sacramento,
University of Alabama, she'll say attention
Alabama,
and go. Hopefully not
attention,
a false start. Attention.
Go.
And here's the start. Race number 12. Women's Collegiate Varsity 4 with coxswain. No problems this time. All boats away. Once again, there's 20, 25 upstrokes for the racing start. Then the coxswain will call for a shift, get down to the race pace, something more manageable for the duration of the 2,000-meter race. Right now in lane 2, it's Washington State, your early leader, with USC going bow ball to bow ball with them in lane 1. Then out in lane 3 is Virginia in that 3rd spot. And then out here, Sacramento State, the Hornets in lane 6 in that 4th position, followed by Oregon State and Virginia. The race takes a lot longer, of course, when you're lifting all that weight plus a coxswain. You can really see the training, the conditioning of the crews, as well as the technique. 250 meters down, and now it's USC in lane 1, your race leader, by 2 seats over Washington State. And then it's Virginia in the 3rd spot, about a boat length back. 4th spot is Oregon State University. And then it's Cal State Sacramento, the Blue Devils from Duke, and Alabama. Coming up to the 500-meter mark, your race leader in lane 1, USC, followed by Washington State. 3rd position goes to Virginia. 4th will go to Oregon State. 5th, 6th, and 7th are very, very close. It looks like Alabama might be in that 5th spot. Then Cal State, Sacramento, and Duke is trailing. 500 meters gone, women's varsity 4 with coxswain.
Event number 12 we're running here at the 39th edition of the San Diego Crew Classic. In lane number 1, just checking our assignments again, it is USC in lane number 1, and they're our current leader. Washington State is in lane 2. University of Virginia stroking out of lane 3, and Oregon State University is the occupant of lane 4. Duke is in lane 5, and Cal State Sacramento State is in lane number 6, and on the far outside, Alabama in lane number 7.
The crew in lane 1, the University of Southern California. This is their A boat. The B boat was in the previous race. No early season form, nor do we have any early season form from Washington State in lane 2. The University of Virginia boat is their B boat, their A boat having been in the previous race, and we have no real form from them so far this year. Oregon State in lane 4. They've beaten the University of Victoria from Canada and Gonzaga, so with no losses, so they're undefeated. Duke similarly undefeated. They've beaten Buffalo and Louisville. Sacramento State again undefeated in the 4. They've beaten Humboldt State, St. Mary's, UC San Diego, Sonoma State, Mills, and San Diego State. And finally in the lane 7, Alabama, they have beaten Jacksonville and Kansas, but gone down to Tennessee, Notre Dame, and Louisville.
Looks like Washington State may have edged forward as they got to close to 1,000 meters, and USC fallen back just slightly. Then Virginia is in the hunt. Outside to Oregon State, all the way out to lane number 6. Sacramento State followed by Duke in lane number 5, and the far outside is Alabama. Alabama moving along there in their crimson jerseys and the crimson crew, boat rather, shell.
In 2, 5, 6 in, strength are out.
Coxswain with 4.
1,
Event number 12.
2, 5, 6 in.
Go ahead, Charles.
Those of you listening to the background to our commentary here will notice how much quieter these boats are. in terms of the noise produced by the rhythm of the blades going into the water and the calls from the coxswains. The 8s are obviously very high energy, very upbeat, a lot higher rating. The 4s is much more about being poised, being able to get out there, to get the catch quickly and keep the pressure onto the release and power the boat through the water. At this point, it would seem as though the crews from University of Southern California A, Washington State, and the University of Virginia B have created some separation between the other crews in the race, Oregon State, Duke, Sac State, and Alabama.
1, 2, bow parade in.
Having said that, because there are 3 heats in this event, it's the first 2 boats which are going to go through to the final. So even though 3 crews have separated themselves out, it's going to be a dogfight between those 3 crews to see who's going to get the 2 qualifying positions for the grand final. And at this stage, it looks as though it's University of Southern California in 1,
Your 8:19.5. We're going to take
over
our first
Washington
20
State
out of
in 2,
26.
and University of Virginia's B boat in 3.
On this one. 1, build it up.
We might just have a tremendous finish here, Charles, as you now just heard the
3:28.
coxswain up the
4:27.
count on her boat.
5,
In the center, Virginia
6, 10, 26. Hold it
trying
right
to make
here.
a challenge
7,
on Washington State. And along the
8,
shoreline, the USC A crew.
9,
Then, as Charles mentioned, open water
10, halfway.
back to Oregon State.
1,
And then Sacramento State, Duke, and Alabama
3,
pretty much stroke for stroke.
4, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more.
Very close.
1,
Washington State are really putting down a
Shift
challenge
together.
to USC. Virginia's B boat acquitting themselves very, very well.
21.
But at this stage, it looks as though USC and the Washington State University are watching each other and watching Virginia.
This is Washington State. It is the white shell and the dark blue jerseys. On the outside shoulder is Virginia B boat and USC along the shoreline. Washington State, Virginia, USC, and then we go back to Oregon, and then Duke, Sacramento State, and Oklahoma, pretty much in that order on the outside. Back to our finish line. It looks like Washington State will have picked up the victory here unofficially. Along the shoreline, USC appears to be in that second position, and Virginia is clipped out for the third spot with a lot of open water back to Oregon State. Then just for the fun of it, it looks like Duke and Sacramento State are trying to show some supremacy between the two of them and the back end of this race. So we'll just kind of take a look at that for the fun of it. It is Oregon State crossing the finish line, but let's watch Duke on the shoreline side. On the outside, Sacramento State. It is Duke coming down to the wire, and it looks like they may have fought off Sacramento State for one of the trailing positions, and trailing is Alabama.
Interesting rig on the Alabama boat, finishing out in lane 7. They have 2 rowers rowing in tandem in the middle of the boat. This is not unusual in a 4. With the stroke on starboard and bow on starboard, and the 3 and 4 rowers both on the same side, rowing right next to each other on the port side.
Kyle, take a stroke.